understand the altar call. I've been that close to dying. Now I read the rabbi's moving lips on the sickbed where he's lying. And the refugee adrift at sea, when it seems no God's replying, repeat the call. I swear that I'll come forward bent and crying. Now I know the man who turns to pills, his life left unattended, the punch-drunk boxer broods alone. He once was a contender, and another loves so deeply, she's completely undefended. Repeat the call. I swear that I'll come forward and surrender. Now I understand the priest who fears he sold his flock of fable, the man who bets his hopes and debts with no aces for the table, the girl who calms her friends with song though she's scared and barely stable. Repeat the call. I swear that I'll come forward if I'm able. I once believed in love received, you're saved by the love they gave you. Now I see it the other way, yeah, only love you give can save you. Now I understand the gospel choir and the Muslim cantor singing, the chant of freedom marches when the bells of change are ringing, the sentenced one who greets the sun though he knows what dawn is bringing. Repeat the call. I swear that I'll embrace this new beginning. Repeat the call, repeat the call, and I'll come forward singing.
Buying Tesla, Apple, Amazon, or any other tech stock is a devastating financial.
Good evening. Welcome to Christ Church Cathedral in the 25th anniversary fall edition of the Writers Festival. My name is Sean, and I am thrilled to be welcoming you here this evening for the 2022 John Newlove Poetry Awards. We've been hosting Bywords here for many, many years, and it is always a treat. And this year especially, when we think of community, when we think of coming together, when we think of the way the arts, the way poetry, the way music bring us into communion, I'm supremely grateful to Amanda, Earl, and the whole Bywords team for what they do to keep the literary community in this city connected, to keep us feeling like there is a community, to keep us aware of what each other are doing. And it's a beautiful thing, and I'm just profoundly grateful to 25 years later to be able to be here, to be surrounded by so many brilliant writers and poets and musicians and thinkers that live here, and also ones that visit us from all over the world. We are, of course, standing, or I'm standing, you are sitting, on the unceded and unsurrendered territory of the Algonquin Anishinaabe Nation, and I think it's profoundly important for us to recognize the land we're on, and that we are guests here, and that a good guest behaves a certain kind of way. And I'm not sure that collectively we have been behaving as very good house guests, but I will leave that to everyone to decide for themselves if they've been a good guest or not. What I want to do right now is remind everyone that what we just heard there was from our good friend Steve Heighton. We're about 6 months after his passing, his sudden passing, and I'll just say one of the things that happened during the pandemic that I was really excited about was Steve put out an album. I knew he was a gifted poet, a gifted novelist, a gifted short story writer, and a gifted nonfiction author. But to find out he could sing, I knew he could do the low notes, but that he could get the high notes too and sing and write so beautifully, for me was a profound revelation. And one of the things throughout the pandemic that I was thinking about, there was Steve playing a concert and Ivan Coyote doing a performance were two things that I was like, we can't do that online. These are two things that have to happen in person. And so it was devastating that Steve couldn't be with us as planned. But so after the Bywords John Newlove Poetry Awards, we're going to head down to those of us that are here in person. If you're watching from home, it will not be broadcast, that's part of it. But we're going to head over to the Festival Cafe where there'll be some food and drinks, and we're going to listen to some of his music, and if anyone wants to read from his poems or whatever, we're going to do that, but it's going to be very relaxed and informal, and I think that's the kind of thing Steve would have wanted. And again, you know, this is a night where I'm thinking of Steve, but also just profoundly grateful for all the new work that is coming, and the ways that our community comes together to support each other and to make sure that that we listen and we hear. And it's my job now to give a warm welcome to the beating heart of the Newlove Awards and the head honcho over at bywords.ca, Amanda Earl.
Thanks very much, Sean, and I'm very loud, and thanks everyone for being here. Welcome to the 19th annual Bywords John Newlove Poetry Award. Thanks to the Ottawa International Writers Festival for all that they do and for hosting us again this year. Happy 25th anniversary to the festival. It's lovely to be back in person. So we're now in our 19th year. Thank you very much, Eric. I will say later on thank you to our sound and tech folk. They're the beating heart of everything, really. Without them, we couldn't be doing all this, so this is great. So we're now in our 19th year, and this is a labor of love with a mission to cover the spectrum of words in play, imagination, and substance in the National Capital Region. Through our calendar, links, and news pages, we keep Ottawans and visitors to the city informed about what's taking place in the realms of fiction, nonfiction, spoken word, storytelling, and of course, poetry. Every month, we publish an online magazine featuring poetry by current and former Ottawa residents, students, and workers. Thank you to the City of Ottawa for continuing to fund Bywords. That support is vital. And a big thank you to the Bywords Selection Committee for voting all year on the poems. Tonight's award celebrates the poetry of John Newlove, a renowned Canadian poet who lived in Ottawa for the last 20 years of his life and died in December 2003. And as part of that, what we do is we read poems, all of the participants read his poems. So I'm going to start with Then if I Cease Desiring, which is from Moving In Alone from Contact Press in 1965, his first book. Then, if I cease desiring, you may sing a song of how young I was. You may praise famous moments, I'll have them, of the churches I broke into for wine. Not praise the highways I traveled drunkenly in winter, the cars I stole. You may allow me moments, not monuments, I being content. It is little, but it is little enough. Thank you. Thank you. Normally at this point, I would be introducing our musician. And our musician tonight is Subrahj Singh, who is running late. I'm hoping he will come at some point soon. And in the meantime, expect the unexpected, which is this is the slogan of the era that we're in with COVID and everything else. So instead of that, we're going to start in with wait, I'm wrong. Okay, so here he is. Okay, well, Subrahj, while you're getting set up, I will try to slow down my intro. There you go. Thanks for. No, that's fine. Yeah, the parking around here is really difficult right now, as you've all experienced, so this is what we're going through now. So as I said, it's our tradition to begin with music. Right from the beginning, we've had all kinds of great musicians. We've had Jack Pine from Jack Pine and the Fire, who's actually someone who also works here, Gareth Audenhull. We've had, I'm trying to remember all the different musicians we've had, and my mind is right now drawing a blank. Marie-Josée Houle, James Misson, a bunch of really great musicians. So tonight we have for the second time with us singer-songwriter Subrahj Singh, who is spectacularly specific in his songwriting with an absolute adoration for alliteration, he's in the right place, and storytelling. Some of his major musical influences are Ben Howard, Haley Hendricks, and Aidan Knight. Wholesome with a dash of heavy, somewhat sarcastic, mostly sincere, get ready for a serotonin sight of relief when he sings his brand of comfort music. Please welcome soon, Subrahj Singh. Hi, Subrahj. All right, thanks everyone. We'll just let him set up and then we will hear some wonderful music. Thank you.
Ooh. Hello, everybody. How's everybody doing? As everybody mentioned before, parking is a pain. Luckily, it's a good evening to have a nice little unexpected run. Let me see if I turn up the gain here. Oh, cool. It's coming through. Nice. I can hear it. How about? Yeah, that's good. Yeah, I'll get right into it. Is that good? Forest fires invade my lungs. Below zero, wild summers undone. Flickering flame and a foreign noise. Below is the earth awaiting my choice. Forest fires spread into my bones. I wander with a shadow for a glow. The vines slither and tighten against my spine. I can only escape so many times. Sink into my skin. Can you hear it calling my name? So I'm gonna use this as a prompt. When I say hold my heart and sink into my skin, I want you guys to reply back with can you hear it calling my name? We'll work together on this. It'll be fun. Hold my heart and sink into my skin. Can you hear it calling my name? Hold my heart and sink into my skin. Can you hear it calling my name? I couldn't quite hear you guys, so I'll count it in for you. Hold my heart and sink into my skin. 1, 2, 3. Can you hear it calling my name? You guys sound beautiful even through masks. It's wonderful. Okay, let's give it one powerful go. Hold my heart and sink into my skin. Can you hear it calling my name? Hold my heart and sink into my skin. Can you hear it? That was awesome. Thank you very much. It's funny, I was trying to figure out what to do for a set list, despite having over 6 months, thanks to Amanda letting me know like a year ago. And despite that, it wasn't until today where I was able to come up with a set list, and I meant to do all new songs, but instead that's a song that I wrote forever ago. And I'm going through music from a song that I had wrote forever ago to a song I wrote this morning. All right, gotta do some tuning. And how is everybody else's way in? Tricky. And how's everybody's week been? It's almost a weekend. The wonders of D sharp. All right. I feel too fleshed out, like a story that's been dragged, spilling out of my shirt, determining on how to repair a body that's not broken, but is well aware. Time is running out. Time is running out. I'm worried about the floorboard creak. I've been wondering how shadowy sounds leak in a sweat glands permanently streaked across my skin, calculating the feeling to anticipate as it begins. Time's running out. Time is running out. You can't feel the way the flesh hangs off my bone. Obsessively planning a diet I can't control. I carry the weight on my back and on my sides, willing to be worried up until the moment that I die. Time is running out. Time is running out. All right, with that song, time is running out for me, and then I'll come back at the end. All right.
Thanks very much, Subrahj. And also, I guess I'll have to get your Bandcamp from you later so people can, I should have put that up on the site. I forgot to do that. Put it up on social media. I will. I'll share it later because he's got his music for sale up on the site as well, up on Bandcamp. So I highly recommend that you rush and get his music as soon as you can. So the winner of the John Newlove Poetry Award has the opportunity to have a chapbook published with Bywords. In January of each year, the winner provides Bywords in January. This is, you heard Subrahj talk about how long ago I invited him for the music. I do long-term planning. So in January of each year, the winner provides Bywords with a draft manuscript, and somehow, magically, by October, the manuscript becomes a chapbook, which is launched at the festival as part of the John Newlove Poetry Award reading. Thank you to this year's editors, Jessie Aubin, Margot Lapierre, Stephanie Masson, Fiona Mitchell, and Rob Thomas. Tonight, Richard Yves-Sitoski, last year's award recipient, will be launching his chapbook, How to Be Human. And we'll have copies available afterwards for sale, and they're also on the store. Richard Yves-Sitoski is a songwriter, performance poet, visual artist, and the 2019-2023 Poet Laureate of Owen Sound on the territory of the Saugeen Ojibwe Nation, the Chippewas of Saugeen and the Chippewas of Nawash Unceded First Nation. He grew up in a minuscule, forgotten suburb on Merivale Road that is likely to be swallowed up by Barrhaven within the next 15 minutes. His poems have appeared or are forthcoming in Prairie Fire, Train, The Fiddlehead, Bywords.ca, and The Maynard. He's the 2021 John Newlove Award winner and a 2021 Best of the Net nominee. Most recently with Penn Kemp, he co-edited Poems in Response to Peril, an anthology in support of Ukraine. When not chasing his impossible cat, he uses guitars to make sounds unheard since the Cretaceous as part of an indie folk duo with his wife, Mary. So please welcome Richard Yves-Sitoski.
Well, thank you, Amanda. Big thanks to everybody involved with the festival. This has got quite a pedigree here. I consider myself extremely fortunate to be numbered amongst some of the many winners of the Newlove chapbook. If you look at them in the past, it's just absolutely incredible. It's a who's who. Big thanks to Ellie Crowell-G. Gardner, who was the judge, who is the person who selected my poem, Air Kiss, which we'll get to in a minute. And of course, to all the people who were responsible for the construction, fabrication, and confabulation of this chapbook. So the piece from John Newlove that I'd like to read is not strictly speaking a poem, but it is. It's part of the preface to Apology for Absence, and it's the most quintessentially Newlovian thing you'll ever read. Once upon a time, a poet and a woman were lying on a bed. The woman was very beautiful. She was younger than the poet, and he was much younger than she was. They were quarreling softly. Moonlight shone through the open window. "You don't love me. You don't love anyone," she said. "All you love is words and watching people and writing things down," she said. "All you do is watch." "No, no," he said. "You don't," she said. "That's not true," he said. He was leaning on his right arm, leaning half over her. A tear slid down her cheek, and the moonlight caught it. Her eyes were open. The poet got off the bed, turned, ran naked to his desk. You see, the woman said. Well, if you're really familiar with John Newlove, you'll see exactly how appropriate that really is. So here's a little thing called Eulogy Elegy. Tree roots in cemeteries pierce the graves, and that's why the leaves are lush. In my darkest hours, I crave neither whimper nor bang, but the susurration of foliage, meaning, at the end of my days, I hope I need nothing, least of all hope. Each time Mother rose from the chemo chair, the future condensed. How she hedged her bets, planning road trips, but post-dating checks. Then one day, she lacked for nothing. Does that mean she got what she wanted, or that a person can outgrow their needs? I don't know. Yearning is firmware, pre-installed. This you do know. You've held a shell to your ear. Tell me the sound was really the surf that bore you, and not your own insistent voice, which began when you were single-celled, transparent, waiting for everything. Cancer plays a big role in all our lives. I think it's clear to say, and it plays a big role in my poetry. Basic machines. The day star's smile is uncanny valley, while cancer erodes our clever cities. Oncologists don't do it for the pension, but still, I'm waiting for the chemicals I can count on, as much as levers, inclined planes, and pulleys. Meanwhile, your piss drains into bags, and rueful laughter is all I've retained of Bible study. And now the evening freight is coming, and on it 1,000 hobos in light blue scrubs, passing you around in fingerless gloves. Time to get on the horn to head office, to tap my pen to the canned music as the call goes straight to Archimedes' voicemail. Hell of a guy, but never around when you need him. And another thing which plays a huge role in my life, and I hope I'm not going a little too far on this, but my wife has suffered a lot of head trauma, and that creates a lot of complications in our lives. And we're getting by, and we're doing it, and we're making a go of it, and we have to live with a lot of beautiful confusions. I have come to love your beautiful confusions. So go, spread your blanket on the grass. Let meadow green make sense of your every moving part. And sing. Your words must imprint on the twinkling leaves for them to fall in the autumn of your gentleness, for you to rake them into lyrical piles, for you to sew them to your hems of optical fiber, warding off the callow hands of untalented men who see nothing in their sleep. And this is the poem that started it all, that created this wonderful thing. And I got to thank also my good friend Catherine Jones for the amazing cover art that she provided for it. So big shout out to Catherine. Air Kiss. The sun behind the clouds is a child hidden in the drapes with feet in plain view. Happiness is manifest today. That couple, suffering each other on account of the kids, bickers like gulls, and it rouses my smile from a summer torpor. I feel no guilt. That's consigned to cults practiced by the sick. I repeat, nothing will eclipse my happiness today. That old man on the bench, he knows it. He reads hope in the tiger stripes painted by that Burning Man Guinevere on his granddaughter's face, and thinks back to his brush-cut youth, where each new day was a bike you jumped on and rode till the tires blew. The little girl hands him her kite, a tame pterodactyl, then bolts to the monkey bars weightless with laughter. Would he sell me the kite, I wonder? A storm is coming, and there's something I'm dying to try. And for the last piece, it's not a podium piece whatsoever. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go up there and I'm going to bump Subrahj's mic. So this is a big shout out to all the camera people out there. Just a word up to them to let them know that I'm going to be heading up to that mic. And I'll just kind of move this and I'll get it back into place there when Subrahj gets ready. You know, a funny thing happened on my way out the birth canal. I bumped into you. And you said that life was a matter of smuggling nitroglycerin. Well, no kidding, I said that's in the license agreement. So I stuffed my wallet with epiphanies, like if I tried real hard, I could quit being human confetti, and that we're all as perfect as toddlers just learning that SpaghettiOs make a fine garment. It just takes the knowledge that some rusty hinges are really in tune, and that angels may be ideal, but they often stub their toes. Which is why I love you. Bless you, but I can't watch my own back without surgery. And if I say there's a bureaucrat with his teeth in my neck, what I really mean is, don't let me go. You're the reason why I don't put my shoes on backwards. You put helicopters in my bloodstream so I can rise in the morning. You're the one who said, well, we're only given 3 dimensions, so let's steal the rest. And if I'm here, it's because you took the thorn from my paw, the mote from my eye, and you took the eagles out of my jukebox. Thanks to you, I can use the word father in a sentence and still show my face in private. You take no cheap shots because hockey pucks are expensive. You take no hints because you could see around corners. You leave stones unturned so as not to wake the forest, but you wake up sleeping dogs and pretend to throw the ball because, damn it, a little confusion can be adorable. The skin you write on is holy ground. Your handshake is like a bodyguard. Your urgency is my all-out revolution. My friend, at a time when misery exceeds gravity. You're a genius at the art of fabricating gliders. My friend, you are beautiful in all the ways that word keeps me up at night. All right, thanks, folks.
Thanks, Richard. And didn't I tell you, expect the unexpected? We should put it on a t-shirt. Poems considered for this year's John Newlove Poetry Award were published between September 2021 and August 2022 and chosen by our selection committee. Our judge for this year's award was Toronto poet Jacqueline Valencia. So now I'm going to introduce our first honorable mention. Following a 38-year career in business, this poet self-published Loose Hay, Poems of Glengarry in 2018. He was the winner of the first and third prizes for poetry in the 2021 National Capital Writers Contest for The Curved Things and a New Skin. His poems Prayers for My Father and Bridge Work appeared in Bywords.ca in December 2021 and July 2022 respectively. 4 other poems, A Heron on the Road, The Blue Egg, Yuletide Refugee, and Fractions have been honored in recent competitions sponsored by the Ontario Poetry Society. He is a graduate of Concordia University. He's lived in Ottawa since 1980. For his poem, Prayers for My Father, published in December 2021, John Morris receives an honorable mention in the John Newlove Poetry Award. Please welcome John Morris. And this is your book. Thank you.
Thank you, Amanda. I'm honored to be part of this evening of poetry and music, and especially grateful for the honorable mention. My utmost appreciation extends to everyone involved in Bywords.ca and in putting together this awards program. And I'd like to thank my spouse and partner, Peggy, who puts up with my poetic obsessions and who is with me tonight. And now I'll proceed to the recitation of 2 poems. The first by John Newlove, entitled The Weather. And like a memorable weather day, this one tends to stay in your bones. I'd like to live a slower life. The weather gets in my words and I want them dry. Line after line writes itself on my face. Not a grace of age, but wrinkled humor. I laugh more than I should, and more than anyone should. This is good. But guess again. Everyone leans, each on each other. This is a life without an image, but only because nothing does much more than just resemble. Do the shamans do what they say they do? Dancing. This is epistemology. This is guesswork. This is love. This is giving up gorgeousness to please you, you beautiful dead-to-be. God bless the weather and the words. Any words. Any weather. I'd never taken count before. I wish I had. And then I did. And here, the weather wrote again. So my second poem is entitled Prayers for My Father, and it also begins with a reference to the weather. And you'll have to bear with me. I've never read this one in public before, so it may be a struggle, but we'll try. Just, there's a tie-in to our previous presenter who talked about cancer, so you can imagine what this one is about. Prayers for my father. I was with him back then on a cold, wet, and windy night in early September. A night for ghosts and giving up. And yet also for some peace in the going, a release from long, slow sickness and the hours in which this vital, dramatic man had dwindled to skin and bone with barely a voice or breath. As he lay helpless under the bedspread, and a few late summer flies gathering like jackals on the ceiling. Mother had just pulled me out of a groggy sleep. her urgent voice like a tow line that dragged me into her room. She handed me a red book and hurried downstairs to the telephone to spread the expected news. I knelt down and mumbled a few prayers for the dying, watching him in his gaunt stillness while I held on to the book as if it were the cup of salvation. I paused. There was one more breath, a short, halting puff of air, as his lungs pushed up and out, then fell back into his body like a tired old bellows or someone shifting to a deeper sleep. The room, too, seemed to take a breath as if to honor his passage. The brief but graceful farewell of spirits gathered in a sacred space before they settled into a silence as deep as the holiest prayer you could imagine.
Thanks very much, John. That was wonderful to hear you, and congratulations on the honorable mention. Our next honorable mention, authored Ginkgo Kitchen and Tulpa, published by Coach House Books. Subrahj was published by DC Books. Recently, Hail was published by Impulse B. She received the first Acker Award for writing in varied performances in 1999 that include Like Cheese, Crimes of the Heart, and Partial Selves. She performed in areas in North America and Europe, such as Budapest, Belfast, Rome, and in East Asia, like in Hong Kong and Tokyo. For her poem Onlyest, published in April 2022, Louise Bach receives an honorable mention in the John Newlove Poetry Award. Louise is in Toronto and couldn't be here. Maybe she's watching the live stream or will watch later. Congratulations, Louise. I'm going to read her poem Onlyest. Onlyest. J'adore Eraserhead, like Quebec pop star Laurence Anne Surtejoux. Just rewatched Hours and Times, Christopher Munch, metaphorical point of shoehorn Sasquatch, implies blood donors on a friend's canopy. Seamlessly integrated Doctor Who's blue police force, multifunctional, to beside oneself's alacrity, back taking half melatonin, Who Knew Kids, as younger cousin to Eraserhead, and Elephant Man's now only just wears gray. With Artemide Empatia ceiling, a friend bumped, made a saran wrap ball, sparkly confetti, gave Brussels sprouts to left-handed, to homeless. If needed to get something nearby, a friend on Tai Chi really takes it out and gave small filigree frame, its Lynchian puzzle with nose, tout à bon, an anagram, a heart's D-L, initials stitched, legit. Remind Connie Caterpillar, sewing buttons on eyes, hive mind twins in Coraline, a standing 6.4-foot gold flower and child sculpture by Takahashi Murakami's bijou mushroom to a lone survivor with OCD as 399 people perished in a plane. Half-baked minds belletriste, sex limerances shared to one, humanly possible's day to drop valentines for soldiers as Hubbard artists like suffrage eras Love Me, Love My Vote. Honeymoon killers, Martha Beck, Ray Fernandez, swindles and murder, lonely, rich in 1970s, lonely hearts epistles for singles. Brief time on Second Life as homeless AF, as isn't real, toile de Jouy motif on Dior's rouge wear side plate to mug. Fist pound emoji to pre-ordered 30th album cover tee of Sebastian Bach. These lonelifying measures. Thank you. Congratulations, Louise. And now, since Louise is not here, I'm going to read a John Newlove poem. She didn't ask me for this one. I should have asked her what one she wanted, but I picked for her, Concerning Stars, Flowers, Love, etc. And that's also, along with the other poems, that's in a long continual argument, the selected poems of John Newlove, which was published by Shodier Books and is now with Invisible Publishing. And all of our Newlove Award honorable mentions and winners and also musicians get a copy of this book. Concerning stars, flowers, love, etc. Make it easier, they say, make it easier. Tell me something I already know about stars or flowers or happiness. I am happy sometimes, though not right now, especially. Things are not going too good right now. But you should try to cheer people up, they say. There is a good side to life, though not right now, especially. Though the stars continue to shine in some places and the flowers continue to bloom in some places and people do not starve in some places and people are not killed in some places and there are no wars in some places and there are no slaves in some places and in some places people love each other, they say. Though I don't know where, they say, I don't want to be sad. Help me not to know. Thank you. It's always such a treat for me to read and spend some time with John Newlove's poetry again and read it. So this is lovely. As I said, the award is now in its 19th year. The judges for the John Newlove Poetry Award have been Gary Hyland, Stuart Ross, Aaron Murray, George Eliot Clark, George Bowering, Stephanie Bolster, Jason Camlott, A. Rawlings, Gary Barwin, Alice Burdick, Camille Martin, Matthew Rader, Kimmy Beach, Gillian C., Gregory Betts, Tanis McDonald, Dina Del Bucchia, Ellie Crowley Gardner, and Jacqueline Valencia. Wait until we're doing this for 30 years. It's getting longer and longer, this list. The winners have been Norma Elliott, Melissa Upfold, Roland Prevost, Sean Moreland, Rob Friday, Marcus McCann, Winter Feddick, Rob McLennan, Jenna Jarvis, Rob Thomas, Matthew Walsh, Ronald Seater, and Andrew LaFleche, Doris Fisher, Thomas W. Wisniewski, David Grew, Megan Mistel, and Richard Yves-Sitoski. And now for the 2020 award. This year's recipient is a writer currently living in Perth, Ontario. She's a graduate of Carleton University, where she obtained a BA in History and English, as well as a fascination with storytelling. Her work has appeared or is forthcoming in Death Cap, Thorn Literary Magazine, Bywords.ca, and Arc Poetry Magazine. She is now haunting a local coffee shop working on a fantasy novel, Where Do We Go From Here? Is her first collection, published through the Whispering Wick Press. Sorry, the fantasy novel was not Where Do We Go From Here? That was a period. Then Where Do We Go From Here is her first collection, published through the Whispering Wick Press. Punctuation is important. This year's judge, Jacqueline Valencia, wrote the following about the winning poem. Moments of sensuality unfurl in a pastiche of hope and trauma. I find myself standing in a beautiful field of blooms despite the thorns. The poem reminds me the strongest way to capture a moment in time is to recall the colors among the black and gray. For her poem, I Dream, published in Bywords.ca in August 2022, Rachel Small is the recipient of the 2022 John Newlove Poetry Award. Please welcome Rachel.
I should begin with a brief statement of I avoid microphones and audiences in general, so you can imagine how tonight's going. I'm really excited to be here. I'm really grateful to Bywords.ca for establishing a really beautiful community of people who love words and celebrating the act of writing. For my John Newlove poem, I picked Why Do You Hate Me? When I first read it, it haunted me. Every time I think, man, I'd like to strangle someone, I think of this poem. Why do you hate me? So you live of the sea, and I am the dry, acred land. You have the sweet fish swimming, and the dull, mannerly grain grows in me. Your blood shines in curving darts. I grow in calculated rows. So I say, I love you, and you say, why do you hate me? I speak in a foreign language. You don't know what I say. And for my poem, I dream. I dream of them, always bare-legged and freckled with lip gloss smeared over chins in drowsy plaster, mango juice pooling in hands that cling in hayfields, fresh linen pressed with grass stains and sunbursts. But also the boys from the list, red scarves dangling, a homeroom burning when they perform a song, rite of humiliation, comparing anatomy to fresh rot, myself to the girl they thought of late last night, faceless in plastic wrap, suspended by tape and sticky tack. My mouth another opening, and I dream of hitting them until my teeth bleed. My mouth a shrine to all the things I've ever desired to speak of. But they keep going, hand glancing from glazed cheekbone, a wink in the passage of my flinch. And I am here, and I am here, my desire to hurt as ineffectual as the day I first happened, never enough to satisfy, and I am an ache that never relents, not even when I choke and wake, fist ringing. Thank you.
Thank you, Rachel. And as I said, that each of our award winners get the opportunity to have their chapbook published by Bywords. So all being well, next year at this time, Rachel will be back at the microphone, back at the podium, reading from her chapbook. So stay tuned for that. We're going to start getting to work on that in 2023. So now at this point, I would like to welcome Subrahj Singh back to the stage.
Hello again. I feel like I've got a chance to catch my breath now, which is nice. I just want to thank everybody for allowing me to be part of this and being here, being present with you all, being able to share some music. It's very weird to come back to a stage, honestly, after a big departure from being in front of people, in front of audiences. It's you come back and it's a very weird feeling, I think. That's how I describe it. It's a little bit anxiety driving, but then there's part of it that feels like home, and there's a part of it that doesn't anymore. But yeah. All right. Here's a song called, I actually haven't been able to figure out a title for this at all. I just have sink/swim as the stand for it. What a strange, unnerving grief tethered between me and everything and everyone. I sink into my skull, I sink into my skin, I sink into my bones until I swim back to shore, back to shore, back to shore, back to shore. I sink and I drown. The water carries me around, and I have no control. A silhouette bounces off the sun against the waves, and everyone that I know, I swim when I don't think I can. 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 What a strange, unnerving grief tethered between me and everything and everyone. Thank you. Thank you so much. Now for a session of tuning. I do a lot of that. I don't like to stick to one tuning, and I don't really know why. So I spend a lot of time writing and thinking about grief as a topic, and I think this last ensemble of songs goes through that, and then getting back into a bit of joy and opening yourself up to being up to things again, and then just to the idea of acceptance. And we'll get into that after, but. Does this thing where if the tuner's on, then it won't go through. All right. Grainy videos in 240p, watching 5 parts of a movie I never wanted to see. I'm leaning into a feeling like I've never done before, reveling in the magic of what I have yet to explore, bleeding from my flesh and feeding it to the garden, grasping for fruit trees that nourish me with life, envisioning the florals while obsessing over the quality of soil. My garden will grow, my thumbs will be green, the sun will shine and spotlight over me, then I'll take it easy. I'll take it easy. Then I'll take it easy. Thank you so much. Oh, and now we're to the one that I wrote today. And again, I have to do some tuning. Right. So how's everybody doing right now? At peace? Potentially? Sad? Song's called Forgetfulness, or so it is today. Yeah, that might change. And I find myself forgetting while I go into rooms a lot, and I was just like why does this always lead to a panic attack? It's like going to a Costco. It's personal hell. And every single time that happens, I'm just like, I need to figure out a way to remind myself that this is just an experience. This is a part of daily life sometimes. I forget why I walked into this room. I begin to linger and my mind starts to loom. How did I get here? What did I need? The weight of my breath becomes heavy. My palms begin to puddle with sweat. Shock, shaking my hands like a dog when it's wet. I spin, I plead. It's not worth it, it's okay to leave. To dismiss makes me feel weak. Something so small, now there's this darkness over me. I say it's trivial, I say that's okay. It's okay to get lost, to get caught up, to feel distraught, to feel it all. The anxiety seemingly making me freeze. There's something in my core. It's a part of my body when thoughtfully observed. So we plan ahead to get lost. And that doesn't mean the worry suddenly stops. It's a reminder that it exists in spite of anything that we ever did. Thank you so much for having me here, allowing me to share some music, and just being with you guys this evening. It was an absolute pleasure for me to hear wonderful poets, and also get a chance to be in front of people again. Thank you very much.
Thanks so much, Subrahj. That was wonderful. The first time I heard Subrahj play was at an Inwards local poetry, I guess it's no longer a series now, but Inwards through Carleton University, and it was at the Clock Tower. I think it was at the Clock Tower pub. It might have been somewhere else. I can't remember, but that was years ago, and I immediately, in my mind, said we have to have him play for Bywords. So I'm so glad that now he's played twice, and don't be surprised if I ask him again. Thank you to all the participants, to the festival volunteers and staff, Sean Wilson, to the Bywords Selection Committee, and to all of you for attending. Don't forget to send your poems to bywords.ca. This year's judge will be Manitoba poet Earl Gordon, and I hope to see you all again in person at readings and small press fairs soon. We have copies of Richard's chapbook for sale here and also online at the bywords.ca store, so come see me, and then Sean will now close our session here. Thank you very much, everyone.
Thank you, Amanda. Thank you all for being here. We're going to, after you get books purchased and signed, move down to the Festival Cafe. You can, the bar is open and there will soon be some finger food. And those of us that are in the mood will read a couple of poems by our good friend Steve Heighton, and then we'll put on his album, which is just quite beautiful. And relax the night away. Thank you so much. This is a great way to have a second day of the Writers' Festival, celebrating wonderful talent right here. It's one of the beautiful things about welcoming the world to Ottawa is recognizing how many talented and fantastic writers live right here already, and it's a beautiful thing. Thank you all for coming, and festival continues until next Wednesday, and we'll just be down the hall right here. Thank you. Bye.